What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Draft Hub. And in today's video, we're going to be going through my picks for week 17, if you could believe that, of the 2025 NFL season. Now, I am recording this on Monday, so my week 16 picks are currently incomplete. I am 12-3 on the week in week 16, and the only game that is left is, of course, the Monday Night Football game between the Colts and the 49ers. So sitting at a record of 156-82, that's about 74 games over 500, feeling pretty good at this point in the 94th percentile of ESPN. Pretty good pick'em season for us, minus a couple of really bad weeks that we had where we went like 5-9 or 5-10 or whatever it may be. We've had a really, really nice season. I appreciate you guys continuously tuning into this series as it goes on. We're obviously nearing the end for the most part, but of course we will do uh, playoff predictions and all that kind of good stuff when we get down to it. But before we get into this video, if you guys enjoy content like this, college football content, transfer portal news, NFL draft content of all kinds, I upload every day at 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. I do not miss a single day, and you can go all the way back. I haven't missed a single day of either shorts or videos since the beginning of the NFL season. So that's 17 straight weeks of uploads at this point, or 16 rather. But yeah, consider leaving a like and subscribing if you guys are new. So let's get into it here. Of course, this is Christmas week that we are talking about here. So these games are going to be on Christmas, these top three here, I want to say. So you have the Commanders and the Cowboys kicking us off in this one here. And the Commanders are a pretty solid team. I know their record isn't indicative of how solid they are, but man, they played pretty damn hard, I would say, especially with all the injuries that they've had this season, especially on the defensive side. And the fact that they've had to rely on Marcus Mariota. You know, I tell you what, I think Mariota honestly bought himself a season as a starting quarterback in some team that's looking for a bridge quarterback. I honestly believe that, because he's actually played some pretty good ball. Now, I don't want that to be my New York Jets, that's for sure. But, you know, I think for sure a team that might be in the market for a quarterback or something like that, I think he's got himself some consideration for sure in this one. But on the Cowboys side, after beating the Chiefs and the Eagles in successive weeks, they've kind of gone on a, I think it's a 3-game losing streak at this point, and their season has kind of fallen apart for the most part here. Officially eliminated from playoff contention. It's a little bit of a disappointing season for the Cowboys. The best record they could finish with is 8-1. But I do think the Cowboys get the win here against the Commanders. This is kind of the sort of the way that we thought that the Cowboys season was going to go. You know, their offense was never going to be in question. Believe it or not, I think they're one of the first teams in like the modern era to have a quarterback that's going to throw over 4,000 yards, a running back that has over 1,000 rushing yards, and 2 receivers that have over 1,000 receiving yards, and they will miss the playoffs. So that's quite the feat for the Cowboys. But the offense was never really the concern this year. It was always going to be the defense, and the defense lapses have reared their ugly head over the past few weeks, basically thoroughly dominated by the Los Angeles Chargers. You know, there's a lot that the Cowboys need to consider going into the offseason, but I do think they get the dub on Christmas against the Commanders away from home in this one. Then you have the Lions and the Vikings, and wow, I can't believe that the Lions and the Vikings record is even this close at this point in the season. You have the Lions, who are 8-7, traveling to Minnesota against the 7-8 Vikings. Now, this is a tough one to call here, but I don't know if JJ McCarthy is going to be around for this one. If they have to rely on Max Brosmer again for another game, I don't think that he will be able to get it done against this Lion team. The Lions' playoff chances are hanging on by a thread as it stands right now. I believe they have a 16% chance to make the playoffs at 8-7 right now. So they are desperately in need of winning these final 2 games here, and I think they know that their season is 100% on the line in this game against the Vikings, and I think that they get the job done. I don't know what's going on with this Lions team. The defense, I mean, yes, they've lost Kirby Joseph, they lost Brian Branch, they've lost a slew of players to injury throughout the course of the season. Terrion Arnold and his Rakestraw Jr. I mean, the secondary has been destroyed, and it's led them to having, I think, the worst defense against the pass in the NFL. So, of course, I mean, when you lose all types of players like that, of course you're going to have a bad secondary, you know, regardless of the type of depth they have, because they found a couple really nice pieces. Thomas Harper has been kind of nice for them too. So, but I think the Lions know that their season is on the line. I think they're going to throw everything that they possibly have at this Minnesota Vikings team. And honestly, the Vikings season was going downhill very fast. And, you know, honestly, at 7-8, after all the quarterback turmoil they've had this season, it's not really looking too bad. If they could finish maybe even 9-8 or 8-9 or something like that, I think you kind of consider that somewhat of a win in their first season with JJ McCarthy, because he's definitely shown some strides in recent weeks. The game against the Giants wasn't really that great. He left with a hand injury, but the 3 weeks before that, he was actually looking pretty dang good. But I am going to take the Lions in this one with their season 100% on the line. And you have the Broncos and the Chiefs here. Basically, I mean, this is an easy one, the for me at least. But the Broncos will somehow make it close somehow. But you have the Chiefs, who are now down to their third string quarterback, who I believe was drafted. What draft class was that? The really bad, was it 20? It wasn't 2013, was it? What draft class was that? Oh, I don't remember off the top. No, I think he got drafted relatively later. Um, I'm drawing a blank on what draft class he was in, but I don't really remember if that draft class was any good or not. But either way, the Chiefs season, I mean, at this point, you're kind of rooting for 6-11 and getting maybe like a top 10 or top 12 pick at this point, because that'll be really nice going forward for the Chiefs. The Broncos coming off of a loss to the Jacksonville Jaguars, who are playing unbelievable football. And I just want to pat myself on the back, saying that I thought the Jacksonville Jaguars were going to win the division at 12-5 at the beginning of the year, and everyone laughed at me. And look at me now. I mean, I'm 2 games away from that prediction actually being true somehow. But yeah, I'm going to go with the Broncos in this one. I think they bounce back nicely. The offense has looked pretty nice lately. RJ Harvey is coming around very nicely as well, and Bo Nix is actually throwing the ball very, very well. With some concern at the beginning of the year, Bo Nix has kind of turned it around very nicely. This is a tough one here. The Texans and the Chargers is not an easy game to call here. This is a tough one. The Chargers are playing some pretty good football. The defense looked really good against the Cowboys. I was very surprised how good the defense looked against the Cowboys, considering all the weapons that they have on the offensive side. The Texans kind of almost got scared there against the Oakland Raiders at home. The Las Vegas Raiders at home. I do that every once in a while. I still do that with the Rams every once in a while. I call them the St. Louis Rams. But yes, the Houston Texans, coming off of a little bit of a scare, they did win, and that's all that matters. Keeping pace with the Jacksonville Jaguars. This is a tough one here. The Chargers, I think they know that. I think the Broncos and the Chargers play in Week 17, and that could be for the division. If I think either way, if they both win, if the Broncos win and the Chargers win, I still think Week 17 will be for the division. So either way, I think both these teams know that they have to win. The Texans, I think either way, are probably going to get in the wild card. But yeah, this is going to be a tough one. Give me the Chargers over the Texans in this one. The Texans have been on an absolute scorcher lately, but I don't know. The defense kind of showed some cracks there. And, you got Justin Herbert at quarterback. He's playing some really good ball, coming off of a 300-yard, 3-touchdown performance. Yeah, I'm going to ride with the hotter hand at the quarterback position. Give me the Chargers in this one. Moving on, you have the Packers and the Raiders. The Packers coming off of an epic collapse in the fourth quarter on Saturday Night Football. You had the Packers winning 16-6 with about 3 minutes left, and they lost in overtime 22-16. And the Ravens, another team that kind of had an epic collapse there with 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter. They were winning what was it, 24-13, and they lost 28 to 24. So, and tough for both of these teams here. At least one of them is in the playoff race. The Ravens are kind of sort of dead in the water, if you ask me. With a loss here to the Packers, I think they would officially be eliminated from playoff contention. And I think the Packers have to get back to winning football. They've been very inconsistent this year for me. And the inconsistencies kind of showed in that Chicago Bears game. And the Bears might be freaking legit, people. That's a scary thought there. But yeah, the Packers, I think, are going to get the job done here. I think they know that in a much more tightly contested NFC, they kind of have to win this game to definitely keep pace with the other playoff teams. So yes, give me the Green Bay Packers in this one over the Ravens. Just a weird season for the Ravens. Something is up with Lamar Jackson. Hopefully he can get fully healthy this offseason and get back to his best ball, because yeah, Lamar just hasn't been Lamar this year. Bengals and the Cardinals, 5-10 versus 3-12 here. The Bengals at home, they're coming off of an absolute blowout win over the Miami Dolphins. And as long as Joe Burrow is playing these terrible defenses, I mean, I think that the Bengals are going to win. Of course, they're out of playoff contention at this point, but Joe Burrow looks pretty good. He looks healthy. He bounced back very nicely after that disastrous performance against the Baltimore Ravens. And the Cardinals just continue to lose. They lose in like at least kind of sort of exciting ways. They make the game somewhat close. 26-16, they lost to the Atlanta Falcons at home this past week. Give me the Cincinnati Bengals here over the Cardinals. The Cardinals are just kind of coasting through the rest of the season here at this point and kind of analyzing what they have to go forward past this season. But give me the Cincinnati Bengals here in this one. The Panthers and the Seahawks. This is a tough game for the Panthers here for sure at home. The Seahawks are a very, very well-oiled machine coming off of a really, really exciting victory at home over the division rival, the Los Angeles Rams. And I think the Seahawks know that they want to win the division here. This is going to be tough. The Panthers, I feel like, have gotten kind of away with playing less than stellar opponents over the last few weeks. And even so, they lost to the Saints twice, too. Don't forget about that. I think the Seahawks are going to come into town, and I think that defense is really just going to absolutely stall Bryce Young and this offensive attack. Give me the Seahawks in this one over the Panthers. I just think, I personally think the NFC runs through the NFC West. I think that the Seahawks and the Rams have the two most legit shots at making the Super Bowl out of the NFC. This is a weird year. There's really no clear-cut favorite, in my opinion. I would say if I had to pick a clear-cut favorite for the Super Bowl, I'd probably say the Rams at this point, at least at the NFC. The AFC, I have no idea. The AFC is kind of all over the place. But yeah, I expect the Seahawks to go into Carolina and get the job done here. The Browns and the Steelers. The Steelers at this point just need a win and the Baltimore Ravens to lose to clinch the division here. And against the Browns, I think they're going to get it done. The Steelers gave up a lot of yards yesterday, but their defense kind of made plays whenever it mattered most. The Browns, I just feel like the Browns are weird because they actually had a chance to tie or win that game against the Buffalo Bills at home. The Browns are a significantly better team at home than they are on the road. I know that's a very whatever thing to say. Like, of course, that's thanks Captain Obvious, but yeah, the Browns at home are kind of a different animal. I expect Myles Garrett to break the sack record in this one. He got a half a sack the other day to bring his total up to 22, so he is one full sack away from breaking the joint record between TJ Watt and Michael Strahan. And I mean, Aaron Rodgers is basically a statue at this point. So I assume that Myles Garrett is going to get to him. And that's really what I'm looking for here in this game. But I do think the Steelers and the Browns, I feel like always play a very, very good game, especially late in the season. But I think the Steelers have got a lot of good things going. The ground game was huge against the Detroit Lions, against one of the better run defenses in the entire NFL. The Steelers were able to break free multiple times. The running backs caused mayhem for the Detroit Lions. And I think that they might do the same thing here for the Cleveland Browns. The Browns run defense has kind of broken down towards the end of the season. James Cook was able to do, rush for over 110 yards and 2 touchdowns against this Browns defense. I think the combination of Kenneth Gainwell and Jaylen Warren are going to be able to do about the same thing. And then, of course, Aaron Rodgers will make his passes whenever he has to. Those 3 tight ends are an absolute nightmare. Pat Freiermuth, Darnell Washington, and Jonnu Smith to pair with DK Metcalf. I think the Steelers are in business for another win, and they will clinch the AFC North in this one. Saints and Titans here. The Titans are playing some really good football. I mean, and I'm not even trying to sound sarcastic when I say that. Cam Ward has been fantastic over the past month or so. He really has shown why he was the number 1 overall pick. He's playing some damn good football. Tyler Shuck is playing some damn good football as well. I think this is going to be an exciting matchup of 2 really bad teams. And I think the Saints just kind of keep on winning here. That the Saints coming off of a 29-6 victory over the Jets. The Titans coming off of, what was that? What was the final score of that game? 24-9 or something like that over the Chiefs. Yeah, this is going to be an exciting one. I think the Saints get it done, though. I do think Tyler Shuck is playing good enough ball. As long as someone comes back healthy for the New Orleans Saints in this one, I think they'll be able to get the job done in this one. I think it'll be close because especially the Titans are at home, but I think Tyler Shuck is playing really good. He's in a rhythm with Chris Olave right now, Jawan Johnson. He's got a really good rapport with those guys, and Cam Ward is playing some really, really good football, man. Chimere Dike has been a nice find for them. Same thing with Alec Aomaner. Chiga Kwanko has been involved here and there. Tony Pollard's had a nice finish to the season. This Titans team, I think they have a lot of holes to fill in the offseason, and they have to get younger at some really premium positions. But I think this Titans team has a pretty bright future. Same thing with the Saints. I think both of these teams, as long as they can get younger in some key areas, I think that they will be a lot better in a very, very short amount of time. So give me the New Orleans Saints here away from home against the Tennessee Titans. The Jaguars and the Colts. This one might have been a little bit tougher to call a few weeks ago. Wow, a lot of away victories I have here so far, I think. Yeah. The Jaguars going to the Colts here. I think the Jaguars know that they have to keep winning. They basically have to win out to confirm that they will win the AFC South. And we haven't seen the Colts play yet this week, but they are home against the San Francisco 49ers. And Philip Rivers really didn't look that bad in his first game in 5 years as a 44-year-old grandfather. I mean, that's a crazy sentence to even say to you guys right now. But yeah, I don't know what's going to happen. I can't really speak about the Colts and the 49ers right now because the game hasn't happened yet. But I am going to go with the Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence has been unbelievable over his last 3 games. I think he has 10 passing touchdowns in his last 3 games. He's got like 12 or 13 touchdowns overall, no interceptions. He's playing epic football right now. And I think the Jaguars are going to ride the hot hand. The defense is playing really, really well as well. They were able to force a couple turnovers on Bo Nix, a couple picks, a fumble recovery as well. And the Jaguars pass rush is really, really good. And against this beat up offensive line, I don't really know how well Philip Rivers is going to be able to perform. So give me the Jaguars here in this one. Buccaneers and the Dolphins, and the Buccaneers absolutely know that their season is on the line in this one. The Buccaneers have an epic collapse. They've gone from 6-2 to 7-8 over the past 7 weeks. An abysmal stretch for them, really. But I think that they know that their season is on the line now. The Dolphins have absolutely nothing to play for after they lost Monday Night Football a couple weeks ago to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Quinn Ewers is going to be starting. I think this Buccaneers team will be more than fine. I think that they will get the job done here, and it will all come down to week 17 because as of right now, I have the Seahawks beating the Panthers, which means that they will be 8-8. And then I have the Buccaneers beating the Dolphins, which means they will be 8-8. And it'll all come down to the last week in the NFC South. So give me the Buccaneers over the Dolphins in this one. Patriots and Jets. I mean, what do I really have to say in this one? I mean, truly, the Jets are terrible. That's all I really have to say. The Patriots keep on rolling. 12-3, an unbelievable season for Mike Vrabel and the New England Patriots. What a season. I think they're going to be a force to be reckoned with in the playoffs. The Jets just continue to spiral down into complete and utter despair and obscurity if they weren't there already. Give me the Patriots over my New York Jets here in this one. Oh my goodness, the Raiders and the Giants in the battle for the number 1 overall pick. We might see some negative scoring in this one because I don't really know if either team wants to win this one. But you have the Giants and the Raiders in this one. The Raiders aren't playing bad ball, honestly. Well, I mean, this past week they hadn't played bad ball. They went into Houston and almost beat the Houston Texans in that one. Now they are hosting the New York Giants in this one. I think that the Giants are not going to be able to keep up with the Raiders at all in this one. I mean, the Giants offense has been terrible the past couple weeks. Jackson Dart, what does he really do? Everyone drops the football. There's no one for him to throw to. He has no protection. If I were the Giants at this point, I would sit him down for the last 2 games of the season. I'd make sure that he doesn't get any more head injuries, and I'd put Jameis Winston out there or Russell Wilson, whoever you want to throw out there to play quarterback. It doesn't matter to me. I am protecting my number 1 asset going forward, and that's Jackson Dart because the guy can play, and he's got a crazy competitive spirit, and that's what I'm scared of. I'm scared that Jackson Dart has such a competitive spirit that he's going to wind up hurting himself in meaningless football games at the end of the year. Give me the Las Vegas Raiders in this one because I do think Geno Smith and Brock Bowers and Ashton Genty, these guys still have a lot to play for. I don't think they necessarily care about a number 1 overall pick, and especially at home, they'll give their fans something to cheer about in this one. Eagles and the Bills. This is an exciting football game here. The Eagles, after dominating the Raiders, they had an okay victory away from home against the Commanders, but they let them hang around too long. This team is just weird. This offense of the Eagles, just I don't know, man. It feels like I don't remember the last time I saw Jalen Hurts actually throw like a legitimate deep ball. I feel like it's just very mechanical. It's very robotic. The offense doesn't feel like it doesn't have any free flow to it whatsoever. I don't know, man. I feel like they really let their teams hang around because they can't really score points at will like they were able to last year. And something seems a little off with this offense. I think that Buffalo, knowing that they have a slim chance to beat out the Patriots for the division, I think they know that they got to throw everything that they got at the Eagles. And I think Josh Allen has to answer some questions here in this one as well. After coming off of 130 passing yards against a pretty strong Cleveland Browns secondary, I think Josh Allen knows that he's got to kind of go into this game and really kind of let it loose. And I think the Eagles, are kind of susceptible to that with the secondary that they have right now. And I fully expect the Bills to take advantage of it. And I think that they will come out victorious in this one. Give me the Bills over the Eagles here. 49ers and the Bears. This one's a really tough one to determine, to be honest with you, because the Bears are playing some unbelievable football. My notion is I think the Bears are going to have to lose at least one more time. But man, the comeback kids, man, the Bears just have no give up in them. And you got to admire that and you got to love that, to be honest with you. But I do think the 49ers are one of those teams that they're just the wily veterans that know how to win these types of games. The Bears are a young team, young, exciting team. They're going to try and come in and punch Ben Johnson punch Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers in the mouth. And Kyle Shanahan and Robert Saleh know how to deal with this kind of pressure. I do think the 49ers actually get I think it's going to be close, but I think the 49ers do beat the Bears out in this one. But man, I would not be surprised in the slightest if the Bears go into San Francisco and win that game as well. And then you have the Rams and the Falcons in this one. The Falcons have been playing some pretty good ball over the past couple weeks with Kirk Cousins. They still don't have anything to play for really at this point. And the Rams are going to definitely need a bounce back victory after losing away from them. They did miss Devontae Adams. They had a couple of injuries, and they only lost by 1 point in overtime to the Seattle Seahawks. So, I think the Rams, you don't hit the panic button. The defense is looking a little shaky. I would maybe hit the panic button on the defense just a little bit, but the Rams are such a good team. They could basically score at will. I'm not worried about them against this soft Falcons secondary. I think that the Rams will be just fine and they will continue to win. Give me the Rams in this. I'm going to go with a crazy score. I think the Rams score a ton here. Give me like 62. Not 0-2. Give me like a 63. I'll say 42 to 21 is the score. So give me 63. Here we go. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. There are my picks for week 17 of the 2025 NFL season. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. If you are watching this after it comes out on Tuesday, please have a healthy, happy, and Merry Christmas from my heart to yours. Be safe, be merry, and have a great time with your family or whoever you celebrate with. Thank you guys so much for watching today. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope I see you in the next one.